If you enjoyed this video and want to support the channel, you can for $1 a month over on Patreon. Thank you.
Getting onto the news, speaking of Michael Jackson, they had a collaboration with Sega, and like you said, the Moonraker game. But on top of all that, there was also a Moonraker game in the arcades. And from the arcades, we go back to Sega, and apparently they're pulling out of the arcades.
Yeah,
what the hell's going on?
I know, this is weird, right? I mean, there's another thing about Sega we'll get onto soon, but yeah, this is quite big for them to do.
Yeah, Sega's name to be removed from all its arcade branches in Japan as part of rebranding. Now, apparently, I think last month or so, the Sega Joyopolis arcade shut down. Like, it was a big moment. That there was a memorial outside of Joyopolis.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that was like the big head. That was like the main place for doing their arcades.
Yeah. But are they still doing arcades? Because it says just rebranding.
Yeah. But presumably, like I said, they're rebranding it to Genena, if I can even say it properly. Genen. It's a bit of a difficult word for me to say.
I'm reading this from Japan Today, so if anything gets mistranslated, don't blame me. Hard question: is Sega still in the arcade business? Hard question to answer. Walk around and say in Japan, you still sport Sega brand arcade machines and the video game company's instantly recognizable logo above the entranceway doors. However, at the start of last year's parent company, Sega Sammy Holdings sold off 85% of the stock for Sega, the subsidiary in charge of the managing the company's arcades. 85%, Jesus Christ.
That's a lot.
That stock was bought up by Tokyo-based amusement management company Genda, making them the new owners and operators of the nearly 200 Sega arcades in Japan. I didn't know there were that many arcades in Japan.
Yeah, I mean,
especially Sega owned or operated.
Yeah.
Sega's still a name that carried a lot of goodwill with gamers. As to Westerners, they'll say they get everything wrong, but whatever. And Genda seems eager to contact itself with the brand, mildly renaming Sega Entertainment to Genda Sega Entertainment last January. A year later, though, things have changed. The company has announced that it's changing its name again to Genda GiGO?
GiGO, basically, you can say that.
GiGO.
Yeah, so we'll just say
there's a joker for if you want, you can quote me on that. And that second name will be scrubbed from its arcade. So instead of actually a joint arcade name, it's now just going to be Genda. Genda now owns the Sega arcades or the arcade front.
Yeah, basically.
Gender director Sho Kataoka. I apologize. Tweeted the announcement saying it will be changing the names of all Sega arcades nationwide to GiGO. We thank for Sega for its 56 years of history of the arcade industry. Jesus Christ, I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah, it
and
is
hope to be an oasis that quenches people's thirst for real entertainment. GiGO is an acronym for Get Into the Game and Oasis. Let's call it Oasis.
Yeah, it's called Oasis, yeah. So apparently...
the first arcades we renamed are those in Tokyo's Ikeburoko, Akihabara, and Shinjuku neighborhoods, followed by arcades of the rest of the country. I apologize for any Japanese speakers or people from Japan. GiGO was actually one of a number of sub-brands for Sega's arcades, including now closed game centers in Akihabara and Osaka's Shinsaibashi district. Sega's iconic Ikeburoka arcade continued using the GiGO name until it was closing in last September. There you go. That was the one that was closed in September.
Yeah, that was the main one. That was the big red building, basically.
I can still visit it in Yakuza, so I'm fine.
Yes.
You can. You really can. You go in there and play the pachinko machines. And apparently in Lost Judgment, you can play Sonic the Fighters.
Of course you could.
Although it is said that GiGO is a combination of gimmick, generally used in Japan meant for unique trait, without any provocative connection, and God.
Yeah.
Gimmick God.
Gimmick God. Wow, that's a way.
However, Sega was part of those arcade names. The branch, for example, the Ikeburo branch, for example, Sega Ikeburo GiGO, that won't be the name of the case anymore. For example, a Sega arcade in a town Akashiko Prefecture will have its name changed from Sega to GiGO. Even the Sega Taiyaki shops attached to arcades which sell Taiyaki sweet bean cakes produced by Okayama Confectioner will be renamed. So nothing of Sega in terms of the, I guess, leasings or brands of arcade buildings are going to be left. So Sega is effectively just being scrubbed off the face of the earth. Besides, what's been released in terms of video game consoles.
Yeah. I mean, again, as you said before, as in people, I'm surprised you didn't know this, but yeah, I mean, Sega have been in the arcade business for a lot longer than people think. In fact, I think it's pretty much one of the reasons why they managed to stick around, because when the Dreamcast died, they still had the arcade scene to at least fall back on for, residual money, I guess.
Yeah, I keep seeing Sega's name on freaking UFO grabbers.
Exactly, yes. So they've been doing this shit for years, and now they're getting it. In fact, funny enough, I did see Yuji Naka putting out the news, and he was just like, "Oh god, this is just weird to hear," and it's gonna be sad to see going around, just seeing Sega and Sega and Sonic's name just ripping just away, just gone from those sort of places now. It's just gonna feel alien to him.
Jenna GiGO doesn't have any of the cross-promotional responsibilities or preferential treatment that likely existed between Sega Entertainment and Sega through the odds of neither Sega nor GiGO wants to be mistaken for corporate siblings and have one's actions reflecting the other. They will. They're completely separate entities, and GiGO might decide in his best interest to have a branch with a few, if any, Sega games, and Sega might be looking for an arcade to act as a promotional partner and decide what is the best choice of chain other than one operated by Gender GiGO. The time of the name change announcement coming almost exactly 1 year after Gender took control of the arcades feels like an eventual rebrand that might be baked into the deal. That said, it's bittersweet for Sega fans. We expect a lot of them to be snapping memorial pictures in the local branches before the signs had changed. Too fucking right. So here's the thing. Because I guarantee you, we almost went off on this. Even I almost went on this. Sega isn't done with arcades. They're still making arcade games. It seems to be the branches and the buildings where they host these Sega arcades, like Sega branded arcades, they're being renamed to GiGO. So essentially it's like scrubbing history away. You're taking away the Sega name. It's like that one building in near city of York. It was a game and video rental shop, but it's now I think it's a barber shop now. And above the building is a blue disc, and etched into it is Sonic. It has been there for 20 plus years.
Wow.
It's still there. I'll have to ask Mike if it's still there, but he'll know which one I'm talking about. Yeah. It's still there. It's never changed.
Wow.
So, yeah, like I said, it seems to be scrubbing the identity. Also, a better example is the Odeon in York.
Yeah.
It still has the giant name, Odeon. Rather than what the fuck it's called now. I think it's going for 3 different name changes.
Well, I mean, I know this actually. So yeah, the Odeon Cinema that was in York, it was there for a long time. It's been there for years, and then
it's a historical landmark at this point.
It's an historical landmark. Yeah, it's been there for years. Was renamed Real Cinema for a while, and then it's now rebranded as Everyman Cinema, which is now a different chain. But they still have the Odeon. I think the name's still there, and they still utilize the big, huge screen they've got there along with the tiny ones. But yeah. It's basically rebranding, redoing everything else to sort of say,
I don't see why they can't just keep the Sega names, or at least the Sega signs. Like, you own it, call it GiGO or whatever, but the Sega signs just still remain because people know it as a Sega arcade.
Yeah, and again, it's funny because also in Japan they have like Sega Joyopolis, which is like their own personal like area thing. In fact, here's the thing: years ago there was what used to be called Sega World back in London, actually. And again, that was like a massive indoor, arcade theme park type of thing. Went on for a few years, and of course it got shut down. I think in maybe it was at '97. I think about. And of course that's been redone as something else. And weirdly enough, before this all happened, there has been mooting talks about supposedly opening like theme park areas of Sega stuff again. Supposedly, like not only in Japan and America, but even the UK. So I am kind of curious why now, especially if they're going through this massive rebranding of their arcade stuff.
Yeah. I think it's more of the since get fucking names called. I keep going GiGO. I can't think the first name of it. Gender or Gender.
And yeah,
Yeah, I think they held the majority stock on this, so they can make the bigger decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to arcades, that's all the stock gone. Sega apparently, Sega Sammy still probably holds 15%, so they can still have the arcades put within these now GiGO establishments.
Yeah.
So more, like I said before, more than anything, Sega is still probably committed to making arcade machines, and even the arcade machines that you wouldn't know are Sega branded or Sega distributed.
Yeah. If I put it this way, I spent some time around the seaside. I went to an arcade place, and there was still tons of machines they've made over the years. Like there was a Transformers game that was under their branding. There was a Mission Impossible one, and there's tons of arcades that they've either helped made or developed. So it's like they've been doing this for a long time. They've not slacked or anything. Like I said, they've probably been doing this while they've been outside of ever since like I said, since the gaming console thing packed up for them. This is where they've been putting their bread and butter into.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And the fact being now, it's seemingly that they're now just going to, as you say, just rebrand it. They're still going to have it, but it's not go the name. It's like, well, that is quite a shame because a lot of people associate Sega for different things. Of course, there's always Sonic, but it's like, this is the other side that people tend to associate Sega with.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, Sonic is not exactly as big as he is in the West. So Sega is more of the selling point than Sonic is, even though Sonic is the same blue color.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the fucking prerequisites when it comes to designing the cat mascot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're going to make a mascot, it's like, well, represent what our branding is, from color, type, font, whatever.
Yeah, but like I said, Gendo GiGO could probably actually has their say of what they want to host in these. It probably won't be just Sega consoles anymore.
Yeah,
but we can just hope and see what the hell happens in Japan.
Yeah. And like I said before, it's like I have seen they are out there. There have been arcades out there that still have this stuff. So the question is, okay, in say 5 years' time from now, it's like how long until we see these ones now coming up on our side of the world, and whether you just have to get used to that one instead of Sega on the side of the machine.
Yeah.